the House Oversight Committee, Mark Green. Congressman, I'll start by getting your response to something that Congressman Ruda said. He said that he believes Bob Mueller is a patriot and therefore he may go outside the bounds of his report when he testifies next week, something that Mueller has said repeatedly that he will not do. What do you think? Do you think Mueller will stick to what's in his report, or will he go beyond it?
I think that's ridiculous. Thanks for having me on the show. I think that's ridiculous. Like, he's done this exhaustive report for the judiciary, for the Justice Department, and he's suddenly going to provide more details. That would just either admit that he failed in doing a comprehensive report, or he was intentionally trying to, do something like that. It's ridiculous to think that he's going to come up with more details than he did in a 2-year investigation and an official report to the Justice Department. It's just, he mentioned talking about us being a screen nation for screen time. That's what this is about. It's just more TV for those guys to advance their 2020 narrative. That's all the Democrats want out of this.
Of course, Robert Mueller is no stranger to these big hearings on Capitol Hill, but isn't there a chance that, when pressed by members of these committee, that he may feel compelled to say more than what's in the report?
Well, that would put himself in trouble for not doing a very good report in the first place. I mean, if that report, some of which was redacted because it was classified, you would expect that it would be a comprehensive report, that it would have every single piece of information that is there. And I doubt very seriously that Mueller left anything out of that report. And there's not going to be any new revelations coming out of these hearings. It's absurd to think so.
Chris Wallace interviewed the House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler this morning on Fox News Sunday. I want to play a clip from that interview and get your reaction on the other side. Watch this.
No, the country has not moved on. I mean, the President and the Attorney General have lied to the American people about what was in the Mueller report. People don't read a 448-page report. I believe that when people hear what was in the Mueller report, then we'll be in a position to begin holding the President accountable and to make this less of a lawless administration.
So he thinks that the country has not moved on. Do you think the country has moved on?
Absolutely. If you look at all of the polls and recognize that polls aren't 100% accurate, but the results are so vastly, people want to move on, that it's ridiculous to assert otherwise. So maybe the hard left in California and places like that, in Chicago, they want to hear more about it, but not in Tennessee, not in the rest of the country.
So if the country has moved on from the Mueller report, then hasn't it also moved on from the origins of the entire Russia investigation, which we know is going to be a topic that Republicans are really going to grill Mueller on this week?
I think there are a lot of Americans who think that Bob Mueller failed to get to the details on whether or not, Peter Strzok, some of the stuff that they did may very well, we know he probably violated the Hatch Act, but there was no investigation into his actions. When did we know about collusion, that there was no collusion? I mean, Comey talked about it before he was even fired back in 2017. And yet this investigation was stretched on through the midterm elections. That's kind of concerning. And I think there are a lot of, at least again in Tennessee, people want to dig into that stuff. This fake dossier that was used to get a FISA warrant, I mean, to surveil another political party, Americans want to know what happened there. Absolutely they do. The report very comprehensively addressed the collusion issue. There's no collusion. There's no obstruction. Let's dig in and find out how those FISA warrants were granted on a fake dossier and why Mueller didn't look into it.
Congressman, I just have a few more seconds, but really quick.
Yeah.
What is I know you're not going to be able to ask any questions because you're on the House Oversight Committee, but what would be your advice to members, Republican members of the House Intelligence and House Judiciary Committee? What would you advise them to do and say at these hearings?
Yeah, these guys have got to find out when the collusion was really discovered, or when there was no collusion, when that determination was made. We got to dig in on Strzok and see if those guys, I mean, they were talking about an insurance policy to keep the guy from becoming president. And that's got to be researched. And then, of course, the dossier. Those are the three things that I want that Judiciary Committee to dig into.
Well, Congressman, I know you will be watching the hearings next week. We will be watching maybe the president, though he says he will not be watching it next week, but a big hearing for sure. Congressman, thank you.
Thank you.